I'm Karin Thursky. I'm a professor of infectious diseases. I was really interested in computerised decision support, particularly around improving antimicrobial use. And in 1998, there had been a New England Journal article by Scott Evans and co from the LDS Hospital in Utah. And that article described a system that they had developed and implemented in the intensive care unit, and it was classified as the potential holy grail of decision support systems for antimicrobials. And I was really excited about that. I thought, wow, that is so amazing. We need that in Australia. So I reached out to the hospital, and in fact at that time they had sold the data dictionary for their system to a third party. At that time I thought, wow, that's really crazy, because they had developed a system actually that wasn't able to be scaled or implemented out of their own hospital.
There was story after story of failure when we started. Lots of things that had popped up in one site, been really good there and then fallen over, never been able to transfer anywhere else. Or had popped up while people were enthusiastic and then they lost interest. And I think there was a lot of expectation that that would be what happened again, because there was some people who had a research interest in there. It wasn't going to excite them for long enough to stick with it, but we stuck with it.
So what I did then, I was working as a registrar, and Professor Raina McIntyre from the Kirby Institute was an early mentor of mine. We wrote a grant that was successful. What we decided to do was to build a decision support system for use in the intensive care unit, and we called it Advise. The very first thing I did, I worked with an amazing fellow called Michael Mayamoff, and he was both a software engineer as well as a psychologist. I put him into the intensive care unit and said, Michael, go into intensive care and come back and describe to me how a decision's made about antibiotics, antimicrobials in the intensive care unit. What came back was one of the more fascinating things that I often present in my talks, is that using a methodology called contextual analysis, which is really something that was often used in the business world, I looked at what are the information flows, what are the artefacts that people use to make decisions about prescribing, what are the cultural influences about who's able to make decisions, who's the centre of it all. From that you create a consolidated flow model, and you can imagine that it was a complete mess. There were decisions going everywhere. That was a very successful program. We went on to get a second grant from the Business Innovations Fund, which is a Commonwealth fund, and that is a grant that funded Guidance.
Guidance came on the journey of AMS evolving in Australia. I think that the timing of the two things was very much aligned. To a lot of the younger ID physicians and registrars coming through, I guess a lot of them don't realise that it just wasn't there. It was a whole part of what's routine and normal in hospitals that we didn't have back then.